Hey all, Max here. So I'm here today in my apartment, recording for you guys a quick little video in lieu of my speech. And as you can see, I'm joined by everything special to me, my two amazing American Psycho Funko Pops, and Among Us Joe here in the background. Thank you, UCL. Today I wanted to do something more interesting than what I could have done. In trying to think of a good speech, I spent a while sort of thinking of different topics I could speak about, thinking of different ways I could talk about how amazing and hot and sexy I am. But honestly, I thought that it was a little bit boring, a bit too basic, a bit too repetitive of what you guys may have already seen. I already spoke at some length in my manifesto about why you should elect me in terms of my policy and in terms of my character traits. This is all going to be things that you've heard before if I did a whole ass speech about it. So, while we have the time and while I can be genuine, I want to be genuine to you guys. Because I understand that there are some people who are going to be unconvinced, who think that my personality or how I want to run this committee isn't necessarily befitting of the president. And I know that there are going to be some people who are worried about my capacity to make the correct decisions. I'm aware of some. And I'm aware of those people who are considering voting for my opponent, Hamza, because of that. So, I thought that the best way to convince you guys was to be genuine for a second. To strip away everything that I could puff myself up with, and just speak person to person about one thing. Which is simple. I truly adore this society. I know that that's a basic claim to make and one that everyone will make, but regardless of what happens, that's true. To me, this space has been a breath of fresh air. Somewhere where I don't have to speak about things that I don't necessarily care about, have to feign care for the current state of politics. No. This is a place that represents and houses my true passions in a lot of things. I've loved anime for the past 7 years of my life, and I watch a lot of shows, I play a lot of fucking JRPGs. I am invested and engrossed in this community and in this society. And up until I joined the society, I didn't have a place to talk about this sort of stuff. I'm sure many of you guys can relate. You probably were like me in secondary school, where somehow in a group of 300 students, only one other person had ever played Persona 5 and he thought it was mid. You probably were like me, where the only people who had ever watched Death Note had just watched it on Netflix and thought it was alright. And yeah, that was often the discourse I had around anime when I was in secondary school or high school. So to have a space where for a second I can just sit back and loudly exclaim my love for One Piece is something truly special to me. And I think that that is the most important thing that I can say to anyone listening to this right now, is that I truly do value this society. Putting aside all the dumb merch, the Among Us plushie, the American Psycho Funko Pops, just speaking as a normal person for a second with no irony attached. This to me is one of the most special places I've had the honor of sort of partaking in my entire life. And I do truly value it. So trust me when I say that any decision that I make between now and the end of my presidency, if I'm elected, is made with the best interest of the society at mind. And I am intent on keeping it that way. No jokes, no gags. Right. The timer on my phone says 5 minutes. Let's jump in to the questions. Right, starting off with a hard one. Question 1. You suspect a student in the society has been acting offensively, but are not sure about it. How would you approach this? This is a particularly important question as of late, because I know that there are some people in this society who have been worried about this particular issue, and that this issue has actually been somewhat prevalent as of the past couple weeks. So, how would I approach this? And more importantly, why should you guys trust me to? I know that there are some people who are hearing this question right now who are thinking that I am as guilty as some of the people who have been problematic of this recently, and I'm not going to act like I haven't at certain points said things that have been in some way, shape, or form offensive to some groups. But there are two things that I want to make clear. One, I do not view the president as the one who personally makes the decision on this. The president is not the one who writes the rules as to what is offensive on the server, and I am not in charge of writing all of the particular things that you can be offended by. That is to say that my word is not final, and if you think that my opinions and my views on freedom of speech or my views on what you are allowed to say and not allowed to say represent the society, you're wrong. That is up to the committee, and more importantly, up to the mod team, and you guys. I am not in charge solely of writing the rules of what is right or wrong on the server, and I am not interested in being that guy. So, these sorts of decisions will be left to the mods, will be left to you guys in the society, will be left to reports, and upon that, I expect that our great mod team, Luigi Rafuya, whoever may replace me, are more than capable of handling these situations, and that whatever you think, whatever opinions you have on whether or not I personally am fit to be the one who writes what is offensive and what is not, I'm not intending to. That is up to you guys and to the mod team. So all these situations will be handled properly. Question 2. A committee member has been dragging behind on their work and missing meetings, leading to other members having to do more work. How would you deal with this? Personally, I think this is an interesting question, since it honestly strikes at the heart of what being the president is all about. In my mind, the president is in charge of delegation of work. That is their one major job. They're the one who signs off on what everyone should be doing and how much work everyone should be doing. And I think it's important that I make clear my view on that in this video. So, how much work do I expect from my committee? Well, honestly, I'm of the opinion that this is something that we do for fun, first and foremost. Truthfully, we don't get paid for this, obviously. We don't make money from being a committee member. I promise I'm not making millions because I'm running for president. This is something that I do because I'm passionate about it. And that's the same for everyone else. And as I've said in the past, if this stops being fun for me, I have no intention of being president. And that's part of the reason I'm only going to run this year. So how much work do I want to put on for you guys? As much as we have fun doing. And if, for example, the social stack becomes too full up on running all the Discord stuff, then it's on me to try and delegate that labor out in a way that is fair to everyone and is properly dealt with. And at the end of the day, if in an instantaneous moment there is someone lagging behind on work, it falls on me to be the one to pick up that slack and then on to everyone else. But in the long term, when someone has been dragging behind on their work for a consistent period, and when it needs to be dealt with, I personally have two major things that I would try and do. One is I would try and understand why this has been a problem. What has been the obstruction? What has stopped them from doing the work that we expected them to be able to do? And deal with it. If it's a lack of understanding of what I meant, then it's on me to reword it. If it's a lack of time, then it's on me to understand why it was too much work or why they weren't able to do it, and try and make sure that they improve on that for next time. More than that, it is on me to make sure that there are proper consequences here. I'm not going to pretend that I am unable to get rid of members of the committee, and I am willing to do so if there is a genuine and serious problem in lack of work ethic, if it is seriously affecting other committee members. However, more than anything, I want this to remain a fun role to do, and I will make sure that the amount of work that we are doing and work that is expected of everyone falls in line with that. That we are only ever considering moving committee members or any of these serious actions when there is a genuine and repeated problem. Last question. In the end, the president's word is final, but are you confident you can listen to the committee and member feedback if they feel you've made a bad decision? This is an interesting question, and honestly the perfect one to end on. I understand that as a president, there's one thing that I'm going to have to face more than anything else, and that's failure. At some point while I am running this society, while I am doing all these things, there will be a time where a bad decision will be made. We'll run an event that doesn't get as many people as we thought it would. We'll make a mistake in the planning phase and we'll have to adjust that. We'll end up with someone having too much work. And these are things that I'll always be careful of listening out for. I will never ignore member feedback. I will never ignore committee feedback because I don't trust myself to be able to run a society without it. So don't think I'm above that. I am not above that. And I 100% want you guys to be open and honest with me. If that is a committee member or if that is a society member, I want that to be proper forums for feedback. More than that, I think that it's important to understand what I think the president is here for in a discussion, in making a decision. The president's word is final because the president is the only one who can end the discussion. But that doesn't mean that whatever the president wants goes without discussion. If there are genuine problems with a decision, I will listen to the other side. I will make sure the other side is heard. And I will not stop until we properly act to overcome any problems or changes that need to be made. Ultimately, I think it's important to note that I do not view this as a one-man show. I am not the only guy in the committee. I will have some amazing committee members you should absolutely vote for. More than anything else, I hope that I will have a lot of you guys telling me when I fuck up, telling me when I make a mistake, and making sure to correct those things. So anyway, thank you so much for watching or listening, and I hope that whatever I've said, whatever insane, wild points I may have made, that there is something in there that you've listened to and hopefully gained some faith from. I hope that if I'm elected, I will provide you guys with an amazing presidency next year. Thanks so much for watching, and let's end it like a YouTuber. Have a damn good one.